loss. I was at a loss. Now, personally, I see this as a game of equals and too close to call. The last time they met, UDS edged it by a single point. This year, UEW is yet to lose a contest, winning 3 straight contests against the African University College of Communication, the Ghana Institute of Management and Public Administration, and the University of Professional Studies, Accra, by an average gap of 29. They really are on fire this year, having been bungled by their opponent UDS in last year's quarterfinals. They believe they have peaked on time to avenge their defeat last year. They have been waiting for this opportunity since last year. Now, if the revenge by KNUST over the University of Ghana is anything to go by, then we are in for a contest. But I say they won't have it easy against the men in black. These fearful-looking guys have promised to repeat and perhaps increase the gap from last year. But for the defeat to the defending champions, UDS had a perfect record. That defeat does little to deter them, though. They say this is their year. The trophy is going up north. The average point build-up so far has been about 57, 5 more than their opponents. To them, if that is anything to go by, then they are already in the finals. UEW has other ideas, ladies and gentlemen. The pride of the North is on the hot seat against the pride of Efutu. Honorable Abdul Rashid Pelpo versus Honorable Ales Afenyomaken. Knowledge for service versus education for service. Professor Gabriel Ayumte versus Reverend Father Professor Antonia Fubui. Dr. Yakub Sari versus Dr. Brahma Awaisu. Who will it be? I wish I could say. I wish I had a say, but no. The only ones with a say are the gentlemen and lady from WA and Winneba. From WA, the students are led here by the Dean of the School of Business and Law, Dr. Yakub Sari, assisted by his able deputies, Dr. Kainuri Tadios Banyan and Dr. Ibrahim Osman Adam. Contestants from UDS, please take your seat upstage. You're welcome, gentlemen. From Winneba, the students are led here by the reigning UEW Lecturer of the Year, Mr. Samuel Gamili Gajo and Aaron Osuansa. Contestants from UEW, please take your seat upstage. Ladies and gentlemen, you are welcome. Please, I would advise contestants to talk into the microphone if they have to respond. And I'm told you need to avoid pushing the microphone up and down. It is not nice on camera and on TV. So please avoid that. Talk into the microphone so that the cameras can pick the feed. Ladies and gentlemen, a date with the University of Cape Coast in the finals is at stake. Contestants, do you prefer to meet the University of Cape Coast or the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology? The choice is yours. This is the second semi-final contest between the University for Development Studies and the University of Education, Winneba. This program is the Tertiary Business Science Challenge 2020, brought to us by Graphic Business in partnership with the Ministry of Business Development and the Institute of Chartered Accountants, Ghana. Contestants from UDS, please introduce yourselves.
My name is Andrews Osei, Accounting and Finance level 400.
My name is Prince Oswamwaku, Accounting level 400.
Adam Mohamed Abidin, become accountant level 300.
And from UEW, who do we have?
Richmond Eduardo, BBA accountant level 300.
Celestine Ajayi, BBA accountant level 400.
Samuel Maunyo Silva, BBA accountant level 400.
Audience and viewers, those are our contestants from UEW and UDS. The contest is going to be organized in 5 rounds. Round 1 is theory, round 2 on calculations, round 3 is our business case of the day. Round 4 is divided into 2 segments, the graphic business segment and the true or false segment. The 5th round, which is the final round, will be on riddles. My name is Al-Hassan Yusuf Traore, and I'll be the moderator for this program. A place in the grand finale is at stake, ladies and gentlemen. Our sponsors are Twillium Industrial Company Limited, Accra Brewery Limited, Price Waterhouse, Glyco Life, and CompuGhana. Our technical partners are the Chartered Institute of Management Accountant, Chartered Institute of Marketing Ghana, and the Institute of Chartered Accountants Ghana. This is a semi-final 2. We'll begin round 1. I'll start from my left with UDS. Interestingly, these two schools have maintained their sitting position since the competition started. UDS is always to my left, UEW is always to my right. I don't know how it happens or happened, but any which way, we wish both schools the very best of luck. May the best school win. Round 1 is made up of theory questions to test contestants' understanding of basic principles and concepts in business. Each institution shall have the opportunity of answering 8 major questions. A major question answered rightly attracts 3 points. A bonus question answered correctly attracts 1 point. Contestants have 2 attempts only at a major question unless otherwise indicated. This is to be answered within 15 seconds. For a bonus question, contestants have 5 seconds only in 1 attempt. Questions can be drawn from any of the business areas. We'll start question 1 with UDS. UDS. In order for fraud to occur, 3 conditions must exist. These factors are commonly known as the fraud triangle and was first created by Dr. Donald Creasy. You have to identify any 2 of these 3 conditions. In order for fraud to occur, 3 conditions must exist. These factors are commonly referred to as a fraud triangle and was first created by Dr. Donald Creasy. Identify any 2 of these 3 conditions.
Opportunity and rationalization.
That is correct. UEW. Which 2 institutions in Ghana are mandated by Section 87 of the Public Financial Management Act 2016, Act 921, to nominate majority members to the audit committees of covered entities? Which 2 institutions in Ghana are mandated by Section 87 of the Public Financial Management Act 2016, Act 921, to nominate majority members to the audit committees of covered entities?
ICAG and the Audit Service.
Is that your final answer? You've even been billed. I'll give you 2 out of 3. It is ICAG is correct, but it's not audit service, it's internal audit agency. Audit service is different from internal audit agency. This is a common preamble, both schools. You have to identify 2 duties each of an employer under the Labor Act 2003, Act 651. Identify 2 duties each of an employer under the Labor Act 2003, Act 651. We'll start with UDS.
The employer has to ensure that he gives sufficient instructions to the employee to enable him carry out his work effectively. He also has to ensure that the workplace is safe and then conducive for work to go on.
I'll give you 2 out of 3. I don't know about the instructions you are talking about, but I wanted specifics, so I'll give you 2 out of 3. University of Education, Winneba.
The employer is to provide the tools needed by the employee to work and then also remunerate the employee for
that is correct. Once again, to both schools, you have to identify and explain any 2 of the 7 C's in effective business communication. Identify and explain any 2 of the 7 C's in effective business communication. We start with UDS.
Completeness. The information must contain all relevant information, all relevant issues that are necessary to be for decision making. So that's completeness. It must contain all relevant information. And then clarity. It should be sufficiently clear and then simple to understand.
That is correct. UEW.
Consideration. The communicator should consider the receiver of the message when composing the message so that the receiver can understand. And then conciseness. The message should be straight to the point.
That is also correct. UDS. Now, in determining overhead absorption rates, under or over recovery of overheads occur, what is the accounting treatment of under or over recovery of overhead? In determining overhead absorption rates, under and over recovery of overheads occur, what is the accounting treatment of under or over recovery of overheads?
It is being written off as period cost.
That is correct. UEW, the ratio for the comparison of actual time worked to complete a given task and the standard time allowed for completing the budgeted task is known as. The ratio for the comparison of actual time worked to complete a given task and the standard time allowed for completing the budgeted task is known as.
Overtime.
That is not correct. You have one last chance.
Bonus another one.
That is also not correct. Bonus for the University for Development Studies.
It is labor variance.
No. Efficiency ratio. Efficiency. UDS. What are the three needs focused on by David McClelland in his motivation theory study? What are the three needs focused on by David McClelland in his motivation theory study? No, safety is not correct. Even build that. Bonus for UEW.
Need for achievement, need for power, and need for affiliation.
That is correct. Now UEW, a major question. Aldafa condensed Maslow's 5 levels of need into only 3 levels. You have to identify these 3 levels proposed by Aldafa. Aldafa condensed Maslow's 5 levels of need into only 3 levels. You have to identify these 3 levels proposed by Aldafa.
Existence, relatedness, and growth.
That is correct. This is a common preamble. The specific function a person performs in an organization's communication network constitutes his or her communication role. Now, for each of the statements I'll read, you have to identify the communication role. The specific function a person serves in an organization's communication network constitutes his or her communication role. For each of the statements I'll read, you have to identify the communication role. UDS. This individual passes information to others or controls messages. Examples include secretaries or assistants to upper-level managers. This individual passes information to others or control messages. Examples include secretaries or assistants to upper-level managers.
Spokesperson.
No, that is not correct. You have one last chance.
Informational role.
That is also not correct. Bonus for UEW.
Disseminator.
That is also not correct. It is gatekeeper. Gatekeeper. Now your question, UEW. The individual's communication network frequently extends into the organization's external environment. Such individuals have a greater interest in national rather than local affairs and tend to have stronger professional affiliations. The individual's communication network frequently extends into the organization's external environment. Such individuals have a greater interest in national rather than local affairs and tend to have a stronger professional affiliation.
Liaison.
That is not correct. You have one last chance.
Public relations.
That is also not correct. Bonus for UDS.
Figurehead.
No. But they are not the ones you are talking about at all. They are cosmopolite. Semi-final 2. Take note. Your major question, UDS. Sales promotion tools such as sample or trial packs, bonus packs, coupon offers, price reductions, demonstrations at point of sales, premium offers, competitions, etc. are collectively known as. Sales promotion tools such as sample or trial packs, bonus packs, coupon offers, price reductions, demonstrations at point of sales, premium offers, competitions, etc. are collectively known as.
Personal selling.
That is not correct. You have one last chance.
Direct selling.
It is also not correct. If you exhausted your chances, bonus for UEW.
Promotional tools.
They are wrong. I won't say the answer now. Your question, UEW. Sales promotion offers used to sell more stocks into the distribution systems and are geared directly at the distributors are known as. Sales promotion offers used to sell more stocks into the distribution systems and are geared directly at the distributors are known as.
Wholesale.
That is not correct.
Pool strategy.
Bonus for UDS.
Aggressive sale.
No, that's not correct. It is trade-oriented sales promotion. Trade-oriented sales promotion. The previous one was consumer-oriented sales promotion. We'll take our last set of questions for this round. This is a common preamble. An identification system known as the Tax Identification Number was introduced by the Taxpayers Identification Numbering System Act 2002, Act 632, for the purpose of the identification of taxpayers. You have to identify any three specific transactions that one cannot undertake without the TIN. An identification system known as the Tax Identification Number was introduced by the Taxpayers Identification Numbering System Act 2002, Act 632, for the purpose of the identification of taxpayers. You have to identify any three specific transactions that one cannot undertake without the TIN. We'll start from UDS.
1. To clear goods from the port. 2. To bid for government contract. And to open a bank account.
That is correct. UEW.
To register land, to open a bank account, and then when a non-resident person wants to leave the country.
One has been mentioned already.
To bid for a contract in an organization where public funds are vested.
That is correct.
That is what
He said
So you mentioned that one. Okay. Yes. So
to
there's
obtain
still.
a passport.
No, your time is up.
No, you are not the one to determine. You are not the one to determine. Please relax. Okay. Relax. Once there are lots, they may forget that you mentioned it. So it is one they were still on the floor. We give them the opportunity. Okay. Yeah. So please allow me to moderate. Thank you. Yes. So you mentioned 2. You have one last chance to add 1. Otherwise,
To obtain a passport.
that is correct. Ladies and gentlemen, that is the end of round 1. This is the second semi-final contest. The winner of this contest will meet the University of Cape Coast in the grand finale. The loser will meet the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology in the 3rd and 4th place contest. The program is brought to us by Graphic Business in partnership with the Ministry of Business Development and the Institute of Chartered Accountants, Ghana. Our main sponsor, Twillium Industrial Company Limited, Accra Breweries Limited, Price Waterhouse Coopers, that's PwC, Glyco Life, Compu Ghana. My outfit is sponsored by Shida Clothing, located at Tema Community 22 Annex, off the Pink Lady Road. Our technical partners are CIMA, CIMG, and ICAG. At the end of round 1, the scores are as follows. The University for Development Studies had 14 points. University of Education had 15 points. We are going into round 2, which is calculations. Each institution shall have the opportunity of answering 8 major questions. A major question answered correctly attracts 3 points, and a bonus question answered rightly attracts 1 point. Contestants have 30 seconds within which to give an answer. There are only 2 attempts. For a bonus question, contestants have 10 seconds within which to give an answer, and only 1 attempt. This time we'll begin from the University of Education, Winneba. The actual output of 162,500 units and actual fixed cost of 87,000 cedis were exactly as budgeted. However, the actual expenditure of 300,000 cedis exceeded budget by 18,000 cedis. What was the budgeted variable cost per unit? The actual output of 162,500 units and actual fixed cost of 87,000 cedis were exactly as budgeted. However, the actual expenditure of 300,000 cedis exceeded budget by 18,000 cedis. what was the budgeted variable cost per unit?
$195,000.
It is not correct. Bonus for UDS.
1.95.
It is also not correct. It is 1.2. It's 1.2. So you got the 195, but you're supposed to divide by the number of units. I said per unit. Now your major question, UDS. A job is budgeted to require 6,600 productive hours after incurring 25% idle time. If the total labor cost budgeted for the job is 72,600 cedis, what is the labor cost per hour? A job is budgeted to require 6,600 productive hours after incurring 25% idle time. If the total labor cost budgeted for the job is 72,600, what is the labor cost per hour?
$12.
It is not correct. You have one last chance.
$2.75.
No, that's also not correct. You've exhausted your chances. Bonus for UEW.
8.8.
It is not 8.8. You were correct, but you were close, but it's 8.25. 8.25. Your major question, UEW. When the income of Mercy Annan was increased from 80,000 cedis to 100,000 cedis, she decreased her demand for commodity Y from 600 to 400. Calculate the income elasticity of demand for the good and the nature of the good. When the income of Mercy Annan was increased from 80,000 cedis to 100,000 cedis, she decreased her demand for commodity Y from 600 to 400. Calculate the income elasticity of demand for the good and the nature of the good.
$2.625.
That is not
Negative 0.75.
It is also not correct. You've exhausted your two chances. Bonus for UDS.
It's 0.1.
No, that's also not correct. It is negative 1.33. Negative 1.33. I'll explain later. Your major question, UDS. Suppose that the price of one product increases from 16 to 36 cedis. As a result, quantity demanded for another product changes from 270 to 200. Calculate the cross price elasticity of demand between the two products and indicate the type of relationship. Suppose that the price of one product increases from 16 cedis to 36 cedis. As a result, quantity demanded for another product changes from 270 to 200. Calculate the cross price elasticity of demand between the two products and indicate the type of relationship.
$0.20, and that is inelastic. 0.20 substitute.
2 out of 3. 0.20 is correct, but they are complements because when they move together, you get it. The price of one led to the decrease in quantity of the other, so they are complement, not substitute. So for the income elasticity, it's just the percentage change in quantity demanded over percentage change in income. Your major question, UEW. A business income statement for the year ended 31st December 2013 showed a net profit of 83,600. It was later found that 18,000 cedis paid for purchase of a motor van had been debited to motor expenses account. It is the company's policy to depreciate motor vans at 25% per year with a full charge in the year of acquisition. What will be the net profit after adjusting for this error? A business income statement for the year ended 31st December 2013 showed a net profit of 83,600. It was later found that 18,000 cedis paid for purchase of a motor van had been debited to motor expenses account. It is a company's policy to depreciate motor vans at 25% per year with a full charge in the year of acquisition. What will be the net profit after adjusting for this error?
61,100.
It is not correct.
101,600.
It is also not correct. If I exhausted your chances, bonus for UDS.
62,700.
No. It is 97,100. So you add back the motor vehicle was wrongly classified as an expense. So what you do is to add it back. Because it was classified as an expense, it was deducted to arrive at the profit. So you add it back and then you calculate depreciation. And now your major question, UDS. The terms of a partnership agreement provide that one of the partners is to receive a bonus of 20% of net profit after deduction of the bonus. If the net profit is 66,000 cedis, what is the amount of the bonus? The terms of a partnership agreement provide that one of the partners is to receive a bonus of 20% of net profit after deduction of the bonus. If net profit is 66,000 cedis, what is the amount of the bonus?
$55,000.
No, that's not correct. You have one last chance.
82,500.
That's also not correct. You've exhausted your chances. Bonus for UEW.
55,000.
It is not correct. They said 55,000. It is 11,000. They mentioned 50. You are not paying attention. It is 11,000. UEW, your major question. Now, the current value of an item of equipment is 81,000 cedis. The replacement cost is 83,000 cedis. The net realizable value is 82,000 cedis. And the value in use is 80,500. Determine the recoverable amount of the asset. The current value of an item of equipment is 81,000 cedis. The replacement cost is 83,000 cedis. The net realizable value is 82,000 cedis. And the value in use is 80,500 cedis. Determine the recoverable amount of the asset.
$80,500.
That is not correct.
$82,000.
That is correct. You are not sure, eh? Recoverable amount is the higher of the net realizable value and the value in use. The net realizable value is 82,000, so that is correct. UDS. On 1st April 2015, Shida Clothing Limited purchased a generator for 500,000 cedis. The generator has an estimated useful life of 5 years, with a salvage value of 100,000 cedis. Given that the accounting year end is 31st December each year, and the generator was sold for 250,000 cedis on 31st December 2016, calculate the gain or loss on the disposal. On 1st April 2015, Shida Clothing Limited purchased a generator for 500,000 cedis. The generator has an estimated useful life of 5 years with a salvage value of 100,000 cedis. Given that the accounting year end is 31st December each year and the generator was sold for 250,000 cedis on 31st December 2016, calculate the gain or loss on disposal.
$39,000.
No, that's not correct.
50,000.
It's also not 50,000. If I exhausted your chances, bonus for UEW.
190,000.
It is not 190. It's a loss of 110,000. Loss of 110,000. Your major question, UEW. Your grandfather has offered you a choice of one of the following three alternatives. Option 1, 5,000 cedis now. Option 2, 1,000 cedis a year for 8 years. Option 3, 12,000 cedis at the end of 8 years. Assuming you could earn 10% annually, which alternative will you choose? Your grandfather has offered you a choice of one of 3 alternatives. Option 1, 5,000 cedis now. Option 2, 1,000 cedis a year for 8 years. Option 3, 12,000 cedis at the end of 8 years. Assuming you could earn 10% annually, what alternative will you choose?
Option 1.
That is not correct. You have one last chance.
Option 3.
That is correct. UDS. You are required to decide which of the following cash flows you will choose at the prevailing rate of 18%. Option 1, 100,000 cedis to be received in 7 years' time. Option 2, 50,000 cedis to be received in 2 years' time. Option 3, 75,000 cedis to be received in 5 years' time. You are required to decide which of the following cash flows you will choose at the prevailing rate of 18%. Option 1, 100,000 cedis to be received in 7 years' time. Option 2, 50,000 cedis to be received in 2 years' time. Option 3, 75,000 cedis to be received in 5 years' time.
Option 3.
That is not correct. You have one last chance.
It's option 2.
You are right. University of Education, Winneba. Suppose a businessman wishes to endow a chair in finance at the School of Business. The rate of interest is 15%. If the goal is to provide 200,000 cedis a year in perpetuity, but due to inflation, this amount will grow at an average of 6% a year, what is the amount that must be set aside today? Suppose a businessman wishes to endow a chair in finance at the School of Business. The rate of interest is 15%. If the goal is to provide 200,000 cedis a year in perpetuity, but due to inflation, this amount will grow at an average of 6% a year, what is the amount that must be set aside today?
2,355,555.556.
That is not correct. You have one last chance.
2,222.22.
That is correct. UDS. You wish to establish a scholarship of 4,000 cedis paid at the end of each year to needy but brilliant students at the school you attended. You would like to make a lump sum gift to the school to fund the scholarship into perpetuity. The school's buzzer assures you that they will earn 8.5% annually forever. How much must you give to the school today to fund the proposed scholarship program? You wish to establish a scholarship of 4,000 cedis paid at the end of each year to needy but brilliant students at the school you attended. You would like to make a lump sum gift to the school to fund the scholarship into perpetuity. The school's buzzer assures you that they will earn 8.5% annually forever. How much must you give to the school today to fund the proposed scholarship program?
47,058.8.
That is correct. UEW. In an accounting class, there are 20 freshmen, 18 seniors, and 12 juniors. If the freshmen average 68 in an examination, the seniors average 75, and the juniors average 86, find the mean marks for the entire class. In an accounting class, there are 20 freshmen, 18 seniors, and 12 juniors. If the freshmen average 68 in an exam, the seniors average 75, and the juniors average 86, find the mean marks for the entire class.
$18.72.
That is not correct. You have one last chance.
74.84.
That is correct. UDS. The mean weight of 150 students, that's boys and girls, in a class is 60 kg. The mean weight of boy students is 70 kg, and that of girl students is 55 kg. Find the number of boys and girls in that class. The mean weight of 150 students made up of boys and girls in a class is 60 kilograms. The mean weight of the boys is 70 kilograms, and that of the girls is 55 kilograms. Find the number of boys and girls in that class.
The answer is
302.5.
312.5.
No, that's not correct. The number of boys, and you're giving me 312.5. Bonus for UEW.
The number of boys is 4,032.
Hey.
Ish.
Mean weight of the total of 150 students, you are talking. Last set of questions for this round. Your major question, UEW. A person decides to save 2 cedis in January, 4 cedis in February, 8 cedis in March, 16 cedis in April, and so on, up to the end of the year. Determine how much money he will save during the whole year. A person decides to save 2 cedis in January, 4 cedis in February, 8 cedis in March, 16 cedis in April, and so on up to the end of the year. Determine how much money he will save during the whole year.
$144 cedis.
It is wrong. You have one last chance.
$4,096.
It is also not correct. Bonus for UDS.
$24,000.
It is not correct. The answer is 8,190 cedis. So if you save 2 cedis in 1 month, double it to 4 cedis the following month, and then double that 4 cedis to 8 cedis the following month, double 16 cedis, 32 cedis, 64 cedis, 150, whatever. At the end of the year, you have about 8,190. So you can give yourself that challenge. UDS, your major question. At 6-month intervals, Anita deposited 100 cedis in a savings account, which credits interest at 10% per annum, compounded semi-annually. The first deposit was made when Anita's son was 6 months old, and the last deposit was made when her son was 8 years old. The money remained in the account and presented to the son on his 10th birthday. How much did he receive? At 6-month intervals, Anita deposited 100 cedis in a savings account, which credits interest at 10% per annum, compounded semi-annually. The first deposit was made when Anita's son was 6 months old, and the last deposit was made when her son was 8 years old. The money remained in the account and presented to the son on his 10th birthday. How much did he receive in all?
204.38.
That's wrong. You have one last chance.
3,306,595.
No, please. Bonus for UEW.
229,201.83.
That is wrong. It's 2374. 2374. Ladies and gentlemen, that is the end of round 2. This is still the Tertiary Business Science Challenge, a place in the finals which UCC is at stake. The program is brought to us by Graphic Business in partnership with the Ministry of Business Development and the Institute of Chartered Accountants Ghana. We are done with the first 2 rounds. We have 3 more rounds to go. Round 3 will be our business case of the day. Round 4 is divided into 2 segments. Round 5 will be our riddles. So we are getting ready to go into round 3. At the end of round 2, the scores are as follows. The University for Development Studies had 9 points. University for Development Studies had 8 points, and the University of Education Winneba had 12 points. We are going into round 3, the business case of the day. So I'll ask one rep each to pick your question. Please, you are not to open until you are told to do so. You may open your envelopes now. It's a very short question. We'll read together. One of the most ambitious studies of cultural differences as they relate to organizational issues was undertaken by Gert Hofstede, a Dutch scholar. This research involved data on more than 116,000 employees of IBM representing 40 countries between 1967 and 1973. Based on his empirical results and a review of evidence in the field of cultural differences, Hofstede originally proposed 4 dimensions along which cultural values can be analyzed. Independent research in Hong Kong led Hofstede to add a 5th dimension, and in 2010, Hofstede added the 6th dimension. Your question is to identify and explain any 5 of the 6 dimensions identified by Hofstede. Ladies and gentlemen, that is our business case of the day. You may start work now. 5 minutes more. Two minutes more. You should be getting ready to stop work. Please stop work. UDS, how was it? UEW, how was it? Okay. Okay, so that was straightforward. All right, so they were just to identify and explain any 5 of the 6 dimensions of culture which were identified by Hofstede. Now let's look at the dimensions. There are 6 in all. The first is power distance index. The second is individualism versus collectivism. The third is uncertainty avoidance index. Masculinity versus femininity. Long-term orientation versus short-term orientation. Indulgence versus restraint. That is what I was expecting, any 5 of those 6. Now what I'll do is that if you're able to state it, I'll give you 1 mark, and then any sensible explanation, I'll add 1 mark. So we will look at what our contestants did. We start from UEW. I hear. Okay, so what I would say is that they couldn't state them. They wrote something related to culture, but not related to what I was looking for. For their effort, I'll give them 1 out of 10. They stated issues like values, beliefs, norms, communication, stereotype, which is not what I was looking for. So for their effort, I'll give them 1 out of 10. UDS. Yes, Vim. So they have masculinity versus femininity. That is correct. They offered some explanation. They get 2. Short-term orientation versus long-term orientation. That is correct. They offered some explanation. That is another 2. Power distance structure. The same as power distance index. They offered some explanation. They get 2. Centralization versus decentralization. Yeah, I'll give it to them. That is related to what I have here, yes. So indulgence and restraint, that is correct. So that's also another 2. But, so they stated 4 out of the 5. So I'll give them 8 out of 10. So at the end of round 3, the scores are as follows. The University of Education Winneba had 1 point. The University for Development Studies had 8 points. We are going into round 4A. Round 4A is a graphic business segment. UEW wants to make a substitution. Please introduce yourself.
Okay, I'm set. I should be BBA accounting level 300.
Okay, you're welcome, Seth.
Thank you.
Round 4 is divided into 2 segments. The first segment is the graphic business segment. Here, students are supposed to answer some questions from stories appearing in the graphic business newspaper for February 2020. Each school shall attempt 8 major questions from the graphic business newspaper. A major question answered correctly attracts 3 points. A bonus question answered rightly attracts 1 point. Contestants have 15 seconds within which to answer if it's their major question. For a bonus question, they have only 5 seconds to provide an answer. There are 2 attempts only for a major question and 1 attempt only for a bonus. We will start with UDS. UDS, how many non-tech companies are in the top 10 most valuable brand category? How many non-tech companies are in the top 10 most valuable brand category?
Three.
That is not correct. You have 1 last chance.
4.
No, you've been belled that. That is also not correct. Bonus for UEW.
That's 5.
5 is correct. Your major question, UEW. Which brand recorded the largest drop in brand value in 2019? Which brand recorded the largest drop in brand value in 2019?
Beidou.
That is correct. Beidou, which is Google of China. That is correct. Your major question, UDS. What was the theme for this year's International Customs Day? What was the theme for this year's International Customs Day?
Sorry, something's gone wrong. Please try that again.
Oh.
Celebrating custom officers. In the 21st century.
That's not correct. Bonus for UEW.
Customs fostering a resilient planet, profiting people.
No, for a bonus, I'll give it to you. You were close. So, customs fostering sustainability for people, prosperity, and the planet. So, he messed them up. He knows that thing, but Baba DNT is messing them up. Now, your major question, UEW. What was the theme for this year's World Economic Forum? What was the theme for this year's World Economic Forum?
Future of the economy.
So that's not correct. Even better, that bonus for UDS.
Geopolitics and...
Stop. Stakeholders for a cohesive and sustainable world. That was the thing. Geopolitics, no lie. Now your major question, UDS. Which award did Mr. Emmanuel Bruce of Graphic Business win at the Institute of Financial and Economic Journalists Flamingo Award? Which award did Mr. Emmanuel Bruce of Graphic Business win at the IFEJ Flamingo Awards?
Well, best in local economy.
That is correct. UEW, who won the overall Best Institute of Financial and Economic Journalists of the Year award? Who won the overall Institute of IFEJ Journalists?
Ankilu.
That is correct. UDS, who is the resident representative of the International Monetary Fund in Ghana? Who is the resident representative of the International Monetary Fund in Ghana?
Dr. Albert Tuna Mama.
That is correct. UEW, who is the director of the Africa Center for Energy Policy, ACEP? Who is the director of the Africa Center for Energy Policy, ACEP?
Mr. Benjamin Boache.
That is correct. UDS, according to the African Monthly Report issued by the Standard Bank, which sectors of the economy are projected to be the main propellers of growth in the country's GDP over the medium term? According to the African Monthly Report issued by the Standard Bank, which sectors of the economy are projected to be the main propellers of growth in the country's GDP over the medium term?
The industrial sector.
That is not correct. You have one last chance.
The agriculture sector.
It is also not correct. You've exhausted your chances. Bonus for UEW.
The banking sector.
That's wrong. Export-oriented sectors. Export-oriented sector. That's how it is captured. Now, UEW, according to the same African Monthly Report issued by the Standard Bank, which sectors of the Ghanaian economy are likely to see a downward trend over the medium term? According to the African Monthly Report issued by the Standard Bank, which sectors of the Ghanaian economy are likely to see a downward trend over the medium term?
The banking sector.
That is not correct. You have one last chance.
Agriculture.
You are wrong. Bonus for UDS.
Agri sector.
Oh, but they said agri, and I said wrong. Oh, we didn't pay attention. It's the mining and quarrying sectors. The mining and the quarrying sectors. Now your major question, UDS. What is the percentage increase in the Child Education Relief per annum as amended by the Income Tax Amendment Act 2019, Act 1007? What is the percentage increase in the Child Education Relief per annum as amended by the Income Tax Amendment Act 2019, Act 1007?
200%.
That is correct. UEW. What is the percentage increase in the Dependent Relative Relief per annum as amended by the Income Tax Amendment Act 2019, Act 1007? What is the percentage increase in the Dependent Relative Relief per annum as amended by the Income Tax Amendment Act 2019, Act 1007?
900%.
That is correct. UDS. The Bank of Ghana has replaced its age-old system of trading currencies on the interbank system. What is the name of the new system that has been introduced by the BOG? The Bank of Ghana has replaced its age-old system of trading currencies on the interbank system. What is the name of the new system that has been introduced by the BOG?
The Refinatives Sport Matching Program.
That is correct. Matching platform, but it's correct. Now, UEW, who is proposing the introduction of indexation as a way to rope in the informal sector into the tax system? Who is proposing the introduction of indexation as a way to rope in the informal sector into the tax system?
Mr. Jan. Mr. Jan Kwanzaa.
That is correct. Abeku Jan Kwanzaa of PwC. That is correct. We'll take our last set of questions for this round. UDS. By what percentage did Vodafone's total market share of Ghana's telecommunications industry change between 2018 and 2019? By what percentage did Vodafone's total market share of Ghana's telecommunications industry change between 2018 and 2019?
It is 25%.
That is not correct. You have one last chance.
7%.
It is also not correct. Bonus for UEW.
0.96%.
You are wrong. It is minus 1.64%. Minus 1.64%. It was 23.97 in 2018 and changed to 22.33 in 2019. Now your major question, UEW, which will be our last question for this round. By what percentage did Glo's total market share of Ghana's telecommunication industry change between 2018 and 2019? By what percentage did Glo's total market share of Ghana's telecommunications industry change between 2018 and 2019?
$0.03.
That is correct. Ladies and gentlemen, that is the end of round 4A. This is the Tertiary Business Science Challenge, the contest between the University of Education from Winneba in the Central Region and the University for Development Studies from WA in the Upper West Region. Our technical partners are CIMA. Our technical partners are CIMA, CIMG, ICAG, CIMA is the world's largest professional body of management accountants with the most useful accounting qualification for a career in business. The Institute of Chartered Accountants, established by an Act of Parliament in Ghana, is the sole regulator of the accountancy profession in Ghana. Its members are the only persons recognized under the Companies Act for the purpose of audit of company accounts. CIMG was founded in July 1981 with a vision to be the voice of the marketing practice in Ghana. They provide world-class training to develop the skills and competencies of members in general and the public. At the end of round 4A, the scores are as follows. The University for Development Studies had 12 points. The University for Education, Winneba, had 19 points. We are going into round 4B, which is a true or false segment. In this segment, I'm going to read out some statements to you, and you have to indicate if those statements are true or false. You have the opportunity of answering 8 major questions. A correctly answered question attracts 2 points. A wrong answer will result in a penalty of -1 point. There are no bonus questions in this round. However, a school may decline to answer a question, in which case it is passed on to the other school with the same rules. Schools have 10 seconds within which to give an answer. There is only one attempt. This time I'm going to start from the University of Education, Winneba. Are we ready, contestants? UEW. An alternate director appointed is not an officer, but an agent of the appointer. True or false? An alternate director appointed is not an officer, but an agent of the appointer. True or false? You've been bailed out. UDS, you have the bonus if you want to take it up. The answer is false. Now your major question, UDS. Freedom to contract, but resulting contracts are enforceable by the court. It's a principle best associated with privity of contract. The freedom to contract, but resulting contracts are enforceable by the court. It's a principle best associated with the privity or privity of contract. True or false?
False.
You are correct. UEW. Management writers such as Frederick Taylor, Henry Fayol, Elton Mayo, Henry Gant all belong to the same school of thought. True or false? Management writers such as Frederick Taylor, Henry Fayol, Elton Mayo, and Henry Gant all belong to the same school of thought. True or false?
False.
Correct. UDS. Job enrichment is described as a horizontal job loading, while job enlargement is referred to as a vertical job loading. True or false? Job enrichment is described as a horizontal job loading, while job enlargement is referred to as vertical job loading. True or false?
False.
Correct. UEW. The human resource of a business is not part of the intangible assets of a business. True or false? The human resource of a business is not part of the intangible asset of the business. True or false?
False.
Wrong. UDS. Petty cash book can sometimes have a credit balance. True or false? The petty cash book can sometimes have a credit balance. True or false?
False.
Correct. UEW. A self-replicating malware computer program capable of destroying the files in a computer system is called spyware. True or false? A self-replicating malware computer program capable of destroying the files in a computer system is called spyware. True or false?
False.
Correct. UDS. A private network that connects 2 or more organizations together is known as intranet. True or false? A private network that connects 2 or more organizations together is known as intranet. True or false?
False.
Correct. UEW, items like appliances, home furnishings, and better clothing are best distributed through intensive distribution. True or false? Items like appliances, home furnishings, and better clothing are best distributed through intensive distribution. True or false?
True.
Wrong. Yeah, wrong. UDS, customer communication is less precise in personal selling than in advertising. True or false? Customer communication is less precise in personal selling than in advertising. True or false?
It's false.
Correct. UEW, financial investment can be categorized as below the line. True or false? Financial investment can be categorized as below the line. True or false?
True.
Correct. UDS, in national competitive tendering, only domestic suppliers or contractors are invited to participate in public tender for supply of goods and services. True or false? In national competitive tendering, only domestic suppliers or contractors are invited to participate in public tender for supply of goods and services. True or false?
True.
Correct. UEW, if a constant value 5 is added to each value of a series, then the standard deviation remains the same. True or false? If a constant value of 5 is added to each value of a series, then standard deviation remains the same. True or false?
True.
You were bailed out before you mentioned the answer. It is true, but you were bailed out. UDS, if the median is equal to 20 and the mean is equal to 16, then the mode is 25. True or false? If the median is 20 and the mean is 16, then the mode is 25. True or false?
It's false.
You are correct. Last set of questions for this round. The capital allowance on assets resulting from expenses in respect of planting vegetation from which timber, rubber, oil palm, or other crops are derived is 30%. True or false? The capital allowance on assets resulting from expenses in respect of planting vegetation from which timber, rubber, oil palm, or other crops are derived is 30%. True or false?
True.
Correct. UDS, 5.5% of the total pension contribution received is transferred to the second tier mandatory privately managed pension funds approved by the National Pension Authority. True or false? 5.5% of the total pension contribution received is transferred to the second tier mandatory privately managed pension funds approved by the National Pension Authority. True or false?
False.
Correct. Ladies and gentlemen, that is the end of the true or false segment. We are going into the final round, which will determine the institution that will join the University of Cape Coast in the finals. So UDS wants to make a substitution. We are going into the final round. Riddles. Before we do that, please introduce yourself.
I'm Daniel Famous, B.Ed Business Studies, Accounting, Level 400.
You're welcome, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Riddles. The winner of this contest will move to the grand finale to meet the University of Cape Coast. Both schools should take note. Riddle number 1. There will be 5 riddles in all. Each riddle is open to both schools. I'm going to read a series of clues to each riddle, and the first school to ring their bell will be allowed to answer. Let us hear the bell from University for Development Studies and from UEW. Now, if the answer you give is wrong, you can no longer compete for that particular riddle, and I'll give more clues who are applicable for the benefit of the other school. When a school rings a bell, they have a maximum of 10 seconds within which to give an answer. There's a weighting system on the scoring, according to the number of clues given. If you answer correctly on the first clue, you have 5 points. Answering on the second clue gives 4 points. An answer on any other clue will give you 3 points. Before we go on to the riddle segment, at the end of the true or false segment, the scores are as follows. The University for Education Winneba had 6 points. And the University for Development Studies had 16 points. So before we go on to the final round, the contest is poised. UDS is leading by 58 to 53, if I'm right. That is how the scores stand at the moment. 5 points gap. Therefore, the winner will be decided in this round. Let the contest begin. Riddle number 1. 1. I am a management accounting technique used as a performance measure in the theory of constraint developed by Eli Goldratt at the beginning of the 1980s. 2. I remove standard cost accounting's reliance on efficiencies in general. Yes, University for Development Studies.
Operational production technology.
That is not correct. So I remove standard cost accountant's reliance on efficiencies in general and labor efficiency in particular from management practice. 3. I help improve profit performance with better management decisions by using measurement that more closely reflects the effect of decisions on 3 critical monetary variables. 4. I include obtaining the maximum net profit in the minimum time period, given limited resource capacities and capabilities. These resources include machines, capital, people, processes, technology, time, materials, market, etc. 5. I report what currently happens in business functions such as operations, distribution, and marketing. I do not rely solely on generally accepted accounting principles, financial accounting reports, and that's relevant to current decisions made by management that affect the business now and in the future. Who am I? Yes, UEW.
Management accounting.
You are wrong. It is throughput accounting. Throughput accounting. 2. Riddle number 2. I am a psychology principle advanced by Edward Thorndike in 1898 on the matter of behavioral conditioning. 2. In my early stages, I was applied to neural changes rather than behavioral changes. The strengthening and weakening of neuron connections are due to delightful and unpleasant outcomes, respectively. 3. I was first tested on learning behavior using a customized puzzle box in which a hungry cat was placed. The puzzle box consisted of a lever or a loop that could open the door, thereby releasing the hungry cat to freedom and to the food placed. Yes, UEW.
Classical conditioning.
It is wrong. 4. I can be defined as a primary belief that in learning a pleasing after effect directly strengthens the connection that produced it. This notion is very similar to that of the evolutionary theory. If a certain character trait provides an advantage of reproduction, then that trait, yes, UDS.
Law of effects.
That is correct. They answered on the 4th clue, and that is 3 points. Riddle number 3. 1. I'm a key concept in information technology, but more specifically related to information security. 2. I am made up of 3 key concepts to form the core principles of information security. Yes, UDS.
The CIA triangle.
That is correct. The CIA triangle or CIA tri. They answered on the second clue. That is 4 points. Riddle number 4. Riddle number 4. I am an American economist born on September 15th, 1937. I am at the University of Chicago where... Yes, UDS.
Eugene Farmer.
No. I am at the University of Chicago where I am currently the John Dewey Distinguished Service Professor Emeritus in Economics and the college. 2. I am widely regarded as a central figure in the development of the new classical approach to macroeconomics. I received the Nobel Prize in Economics in 1995 for having developed and applied the hypothesis of rational expectations, and thereby having transformed macroeconomic analysis and deepened our understanding of economic policy. 3. I have been characterized by Gregory Mankiw as the most influential macroeconomist of the last quarter of the 20th century. 4. I developed a theory of supply that suggests people can be tricked by unsystematic monetary policy, of human capital accumulation, and a paradox, which considers why more capital does not flow from developed countries to developing countries. 5. I also contributed foundational contributions to behavioral economics and provided the intellectual foundation for the understanding of deviation from the law of one price based on the irrationality of investors. In 2003, I stated about 5 years before the Great Recession that the central problem of depression prevention has been solved for all practical purposes and has in fact been solved for many decades. Who am I? Robert Emerson Lucas Jr. Robert Lucas Jr. Riddle number 5. The last riddle. I am a social psychology theory developed by Bernard Weiner in 1972. 2. I have been widely applied in education, law, clinical psychology, and the mental health domain. There is a strong relationship between self-concept and achievement. 3. I am in a 3-stage process. Behavior is observed. Behavior is determined to be deliberate. Yes, the University for Development Studies.
Warren Bennett's ideas about leadership.
No. And 3, behavior is attributed to internal or external causes. 4, I assume that people try to determine why people do what they do. That is to interpret causes to an event or behavior. 5, I have been used to explain the differences in motivation between high and low achievers. According to me, high achievers will approach rather than avoid tasks related to succeeding because they believe success is due to high ability and effort, which they are confident of. Failure is thought to be caused by bad luck or a poor exam. That is not their fault. Thus, failure doesn't affect their self-esteem, but success builds pride and confidence. Who am I? Yes, UEW. No. Attribution theory. Attribution theory. Ladies and gentlemen, that brings us to the end of the contest. This has been the second semi-final contest. The first semi-final contest was won by the University of Cape Coast. The winner of this contest will meet the University of Cape Coast in the finals of this year's Tertiary Business Sense Challenge 2020, brought to us by Graphic Business in partnership with the Institute of Chartered Accountants and the Ministry for Business Development. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, at the end of round 5, the scores are as follows. The University of Education Winneba had 0 points. The University for Development Studies had 7 points. We have a winner, ladies and gentlemen. At the end of the contest, the final scores are as follows. The University of Education Winneba from Winneba in the Central Region of Ghana had 53 points. The University of Development Studies from WA in the Upper West Region had 65 points. The grand finale contest has been set. The University of Cape Coast will meet the University for Development Studies once again. University of Education Winneba, you met your meter. Finally, before this contest, you hadn't been beaten in this competition, but on the day, I think UDS edged it. They were relatively better on the day, but you've done well. You have represented your institution very well this year. You performed better than last year. You still have a chance to win the 3rd place contest with the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology. So you go back, correct your mistakes, and we will see you in the 3rd and 4th place playoff. Thank you very much for being part of this competition. UDS, your prayers have been answered finally. At this stage last year, you were crying. You are going a step better this year to the finals. Yes. Congratulations. You have qualified to meet the University of Cape Coast in the finals once again. So you rectify some of the little mistakes you made and face off with UCC in the finals later. Thank you very much for being part of this competition, this contest. Ladies and gentlemen, the die has been cast. Our 3rd and 4th place contest will be between the University of Education Winneba and the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology. Our finals, the grand finale, will be a repetition of the quarter-final clash between the University of Cape Coast and the University for Development Studies. Thank you very much for being part of this contest. We will see you at the grand finale. Bye-bye.